So I wanted to do a video, you know, when I sit, wait for my car to be fixed type stuff. Kind of steal some of the old magazine stuff. They always take off the date though, so I don't, you know. So, but, um, I like some of Mudahar's videos, but when I come across one where I think he's kind of talking funny, I'm like, okay. But they lied to you about what succubus is. Succubuses are really little spirits that sit on somebody. So like when you're in a house, you don't know who it is, and they stem it from there. So let's say it's like it's usually kind of small, sometimes like medium size or whatever, but it feels heavy, and it sits on you. And then like you can't see what it is. It's not sexual, if you actually realize, if you see the spirit beforehand anyways, because it's like, you could be like in college in your prime time, you know, with your mate or whatever, so you could be sexual even in the time, or you could be like, you know, a preteen in their like early masturbation years or something. It doesn't matter, but in the house or where you're living, it sits on you, but you can't actually see who it is, but it feels heavy. So you think it's somebody. You could think it's your uncle. You could think it's your dad. You could think it's like a guy that lives with your family, or a woman that lives with your family. You just don't know who it is because they live in the same. You start thinking it's somebody in your house, but you can't see it. And that's why Erebus is going off faster than Michael's Georgia South sandwich is, because it's literally stemming itself from that. And what it is, it comes from like a Buddha figure sitting on top of a Rachel type figure. While that Buddha is sitting on top of a Rachel type figure, they'll have like, see, I never understood the Leia thing, because it shouldn't be like Princess Leia and Jabba the Hutt type thing. Like Ali, another one, you know, type thing. And then it sits on somebody, and like somebody's like entertaining him while that other person is entertaining pretty much a mean person for the sake of maybe making a profit of dirty laundry. Then it turns itself over, and it looks for the people in like maybe the cancer, or in various things, you know, medical practices or whatever. It looks into those things to try to see, feel, you know, have more feeling. Because a lot of times, you know, like back in the old days, people didn't protest certain things. Like I would have, like, don't come to me crying if you really don't care, you know. I mean, they cry, but they don't actually protest it. They're not protesting it, like, and they're not showing that they're angry about the institution or something doing it. And that's, sometimes you have to just show that. So sometimes you end up in a fight about it, a quick fight or something like that, to show that there really is some sort of protest about stuff like that. Okay, so I wanted to go over this stuff. And like, yeah, I'm sorry, I felt like a tiger on one, because I see that it got all the way up to where even somebody who's like a Jaw figure, because they cut that name, it's like a James or a Jacob. They cut the names that have the J's or whatever type thing. When it gets up to there and they still can't see it, I turn into something like very, very rageful, because there's these people out there specifically doing it intentionally, and there's nothing I can do about it, especially since when they play out of heart games. So it feels like something actually is literally outside your heart. There's nothing, like, it literally got to the point that it acts like a spirit outside your heart, but trying to be that spirit or something like that. So this is, I took some examples, you know, like this is probably like, you know, a good example. So they kind of interpret it like with True Blood, which I never watched. This is also fake. like in just some magazine articles, I don't know when they're from, they go over the Luke Perry's, the Luke died in the Perry thing? But wait a second, it was all about the people being sick and stuff like that, you know? Like, I don't understand that. This one I had to take. This one is an article that shows like a Jessica figure who had to go through like all her DNA, and everything's off. Even in these articles, everything's off by like about 10 years. So I wanted to go recite some of these things that they have. And like you'll notice in like a lot of these articles that where is it? It'll say on Instagram. Even the Newton-John stuff was all Instagram. Like it'll say it like on there. So just listen to the article, and I won't say the names in the article, but just doesn't it sound weird? Okay, so it was a few weeks before Christmas in 2016. Okay, but this one's off probably by the whole bad side of it's probably off by 3 years, because it'll be like 1, 2, 3. Whether it's a triangle or trying to do a corner, it's still 1, 2, 3. So anyway, so getting the questions from her daughter Alice. The then 11-year-old knew that she had become the then 11-year-old knew that she'd been conceived with the help of an anonymous sperm donor. But now she wanted to know more. Her grandmother is always talking about genealogy and what countries her ancestors came from, says someone who's 43. I don't think she looks 43 to me, but that's just, I don't know. So anyway, so finally, Alice asked her grandmother for a high-tech holiday present, the 23andMe DNA test. Weeks later, the results came back showing that Alice was, oh damn, I should have left out the names, or the fake names, I don't know, was 48% German, 15% British, and a mix of European ancestries, but there was more. In the section labeled DNA relatives, it's listed as one Aaron Long, okay, as 50% related to her. Recalls Alice, my mom said, damn, that's your father. Okay, so Jessica tracked down Aaron, now a 53-year-old Seattle-based musician. So now Aaron's the dad, supposedly. I don't know if anyone ever really actually understood Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I think I said it about it. So anyways, and then this one, the Luke dies on the Perry side. And that's just kind of, because they were all about that, the whole Perry side and the Brower side, so there'll probably be a Luke death or something. And then they go over like some of the old Michael Jackson stuff. Now, is it Netherland or is it Netherland? The same is like the Michael Jackson one is Neverland is pretty much the same type thing as the Metallica Off to Neverland. So, and that's the same pretty much type thing. But I think they tried to do like instead of doing a Mick and Eel, they tried to do like a Michael split, so it'd be like black and white. And I think they did that wrongfully with a lot of bad problems. A lot of situational problems that they actually put in that situation. This is another one. This one's in Solano, Sheriff's County Office. Okay, so the Pearl Pinson, she went missing on May 25th, 2016, which... Okay, none of it makes sense, though. I'm going to tell you anything that talks about I was walking down the street trying to take a selfie and then I went missing. usually is not real. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So the Viejo California Pearl Pinson was eager to show off her new. I was walking down the road, on the side of the road, and I was trying to take a selfie, and then I went missing. But listen, it has 10 years off on it too. So the newly blonde, what? This doesn't have in here. Was eager to show off her newly dyed green streaks in her blonde hair to her boyfriend, classmate again, Jesse Bethel, high school. Anything with high school, they do a gram on these guys. These people do grams on people that haven't graduated from high school yet, so it kind of looks more retarded in the end. You know, like it's just a bunch of classroom BS. And it looks a lot really stupid. But if you do a gram on like somebody who was grandparents were terrorists, you're in trouble. Shortly before 7 a.m., a witness saw Pearl argue with an unidentified man, and the witness approached the man, pulled out a gun, and when police arrived, they found blood on the spot where Pearl had been seen. So she takes a selfie. A witness just walks up to an ordinary man, but doesn't say that actually the person went missing. So someone went missing when they take a selfie and there's blood on the ground, but there was a witness that didn't see her get taken or anything, you know, type thing. This is your identity to what's real. Okay, this is like why I don't find this stuff any good. But the next day, the police found him in the suspect's home with Fernando Castro, who had reportedly been spotted at the scene. But during the highway pursuit, Castro engaged in a shootout with police and was killed. Investigators scoured both Pearl and Castro's phones and social media, but couldn't find a connection between the two. We know who did it, but we don't know why or where he took her. So the guy even dies, supposedly, but they say that she went missing at the time she takes a selfie. I'll read it again. As she walked to high school on 780, she stopped to take a selfie of her new look, but it was a picture she never got. Okay, so we know who did it, but we don't know why or where he took her, says Sean Matson. Nearly 3 years later, the family is still looking for answers, constantly running through my mind. Where could she be, says her father, James, 53. 10 up. Who's along with Pearl's sister, Rosie, who's 20, and Joyce, who's also 53. They're all like 53, 43. We're looking for any little signs. Okay, that also doesn't make sense. There's another one down here, though. This one's Tacoma. Okay. Well, anyways, I was just giving you some examples of why it doesn't work. And I'm going to give you one hell of an example it doesn't work. They changed that whole book with the man that falls in the river type thing. And that is the ending of Ezekiel. They used Ezekiel like a mofo toy.